Right. Father Martin.
Brother Matthew.
Good to have you.
Good to be here. It's awesome.
Wow. I am, just to introduce myself, I'm Brother Matthew. I'm a third-year seminarian here in Cheshire, Connecticut with the Legionaries of Christ. And I'm here with the wonderful Father Martin Connor.
You're too generous with such commentary. Father Martin Connor, I work in vocations for the Legion in a territorial capacity. And good to be here with you.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So, Father Martin, we want to talk about, I want to hear about your work with vocations in today's culture.
Okay.
First, like what, where are you from? Can you tell us?
Sure. No problem at all. I am from outside of Baltimore, Maryland, more towards Annapolis, famous for the United States Naval Academy. Born and raised there. My dad was from Baltimore. My mom was from Philly. They married and settled outside of Baltimore. And I'm one of 8, number 7. And was born and raised in those parts of the world. And yeah, that's where it all started.
Wow. Talk about. Yeah. Did you go to university, go to college?
I did. I went to an all-boys school in Baltimore.
Okay.
Mount St. Joe's, and then I went on to Boston College a couple of years after high school, or right after high school.
Well, Boston College, tennis, swimming?
Yes, I happened to hit the ball fairly well, and that merited a scholarship. So I thought I was going to be the next John McEnroe, or the next Jimmy Connors, but that wasn't in the cards.
What was in the cards, Father? What do you?
The cards was invest in the priesthood. Invest in eternity.
Say that one more time. That was pretty awesome. That was pretty cool.
When you consider and ponder the priesthood, you are touching on eternal realities. So I've been using that a lot in my own vocation work, and that's what happened to me. When you think about the world and the passing of time and what your purpose in life is, we all go through those realities in high school and college. You ask big questions. Like, what's this all about? Why am I here? What's God's plan for me? And I started doing that when I was in college, even though I think the rumblings started before. And yeah, that awakened in me the calling. And thanks be to God, I was able to find the Legionaries and answer the call. Wow. So,
praise be to God.
Praise be to God. Exactly.
I can say I'm a bit of a fruit of that calling from you even. I mean, you were one of the first Legionaries I met down in Atlanta. It made a huge difference in my life. I mean, here I am.
Yeah, well, that's when you encounter a priest, especially one who's very identified with who he is and what the priesthood is about, you get those types of eternal, touch points. Invest in the priesthood, invest in eternity. There's a lot of truth to that. In multiple levels. So I see that in my own vocation work. We see that in individual callings, like you just mentioned, and with myself. But I think by even saying that, it's going to resonate with a lot of people, not just those who may be discerning a vocation,
Totally, Father. It does. Yeah, it resonates. So tell us about what kind of work are you doing with vocations? And in that, what is a vocation? How do we understand this?
Yeah, well, the church has a very beautiful perspective that many don't know or they're not familiar with. It's all about education, right? So it really is rooted in the fact that we have a vocation, first and foremost, to life. That God has brought us into this world. Life is a gift, right? And by doing so, He is opening us up to incredible realities. First of all, to know Him and to love Him and to discover these incredible gifts that He's given each of us, because all of us are born with gifts that He wants us to use to make this world better, to build His kingdom. That's what kind of Legionaries are all about, is that we want to help people discover their vocation and put their gifts at the service of the kingdom to just build the church and build the world into a place where there's goodness and there's truth and there's beauty and people are living lives that are fully, that are fulfilling, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. It's like you said, the eternity, priesthood. Invest in the priesthood. You're investing in something that's bringing meaning to this reality right now that we live.
Right.
And that's an eternal purpose. Wow.
For sure. So vocation work is like that.
Okay.
You're meeting people at all levels of the search, the journey. And some are open to asking the question, right, of what is my purpose, what is my mission in life, and that's where it all begins, right? It really does come down to an identity. Who am I? Who am I in the eyes of God? And then from that comes this desire to seek God and to want to know what God's plan is, right? And that does unfold into different states in life. So I always refer to capital V, big vocation, right? Capital V is the universal calling that we all have as baptized to holiness. Will lead to little v, which is a specific personalized state in life, marriage or the state of the priesthood or consecrated life. But we have the capital V to deal with first, my knowing and loving and serving God and growing in Him, which will lead me to these other questions of what is He calling me to live in this world, right?
And which ones do you work with, Father? Big V, little v?
I work with all of them because it all starts with big V.
Wow, you work with both.
Yeah, because if you don't understand capital V, then you'll get things mixed up. Like if you center yourself on the universal calling to holiness as a baptized follower of Christ, that leads to a lot of peace and clarity around these other questions of state in life. Sometimes we get it mixed up. I want to jump right to whether I'm called to the priesthood or no, relax. Begin with what baptism shows us. And that is knowing and loving Christ and growing in Him. And He will give you the clarity and light to take the course that He's calling you to.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How do more people find out about this? How do we tell more people?
Yeah, you'd be surprised. We're trying to communicate that vision, which is the church's vision. It's not the Legionaries don't have some corner on the market. No, we're just trying to push out and get out there what the church has always believed and understood in this self-discovery of this mission that we have in life in God, right? And then obviously the sacraments and what the church brings into it, it takes it to another level of excitement and adventure. Really, when you follow Christ, you are embarking on an adventure, right? An eternal adventure, right? The whole idea, again, of when you invest in the priesthood, you invest in eternity because the priesthood is putting before you, because the priest is in persona Christi, in the name, in the person of Christ. They're putting, when we act and mingle and interact with the community as a priest, we are opening people up to realities that go far beyond this temporal world. And I've seen it and witnessed it many, many times. And I'm sure any priest would be able to say the same if he were here with us,
Absolutely. And you've witnessed that personally for many times in your life.
I have personally and with many young people.
With Christ.
Yeah.
Do you have any share a little story? Anything you have?
I'll
put you on the spot, but
yeah. Well, the story I mentioned today in the conference I was giving to some of the seminarians, incredible. It's just unbelievable. I was at a conference a couple years ago in Indiana, and a friend who was at the conference came up to me and said, "Hey, there's this priest, young priest that wants to see you. He mentioned you. Is Father Martin around? I need to talk to him." And I forget his name. And I was like, hopefully I meet up with him. I don't know who he is, but let's see what happens, right? That was on the Friday night when we were starting. So I ended up having a meal with him that weekend, and he shows up with this other young priest. And we start talking, and hey, I was in this city in such and such year, and you started helping me discern my vocation, and we met a few times for spiritual direction, and don't you remember? And I started to put the pieces together, and then I understood. Yeah, I was in that city at that time frame, and I do remember helping a number of young men, and he was clearly one of them. And yet this other priest who sat down with us said, "Yeah, and do you remember the cup of coffee we had that one time, and you told me, I told you, yeah, I had thought about the priesthood, but I have a girlfriend, and and I'm like, and you said to me, well, why would a girlfriend stop you from not considering such a great thing as the priesthood?" And he kind of stopped in his tracks, and then I said to him, which I don't remember anything about, that you need to go home and you need to talk to your girlfriend, probably break up with her, and give Christ the first shot. He went home, he broke up with his girlfriend, entered the seminary 8 months later. He is now like rector of some seminary. I don't know where it was in the Midwest. And I was like, boom, like, are you kidding me? So not remembering anything, but just being a priest and being a zealous sower of the good seed, right? With young people, challenging them to give Christ the first shot. Ask him, go to him, listen to him, see what he is saying to you about a possible calling, whether it be the priesthood or elsewhere. It's not all about the priesthood, we know that, but it's powerful to see how the Holy Spirit works through you when you really are, with purity of intention, trying to do the right thing, right?
That's incredible.
It's an incredible story.
That's praise be to God. I mean, that is amazing. And that brings it back to what we were talking about in the beginning with this eternal perspective, right? You brought a little taste of eternity, and it changed his whole life. You know, he gave Christ the first shot.
And what you see as a priest is it's not you. It's clearly you show up, and God and the power of the Holy Spirit are working through you, and do the touching and the moving of hearts and all of those things. And you just are amazed at that powerful action. That's the priesthood.
Wow. This is incredible.
It's true. It's a great
your
great
mission
calling.
right now in the Legion is to foster this among priests, among lay people, among consecrated, this, what you say, like a culture of vocation?
Yeah, we're trying to foster a vocational culture that really tries to bring young people to that question of what is God's plan in my life? What is his mission in my life? No matter what that may be. But begin your life or begin your discernment or begin that journey by asking him and not doing your own thing and finding out 5 years later you're totally miserable. Well, if you bring it to prayer and are open to God and really understand he wants what's best for you, then amazing things happen. So we're just trying to foster that type of mentality, be it with families or communities or schools. What we're calling it is a vocational renaissance.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. That's
awesome. If we can get a lot more people thinking like this, we can change culture. And that's the mission of the Legionaries of Christ. Let's change culture.
Thy kingdom come. Thy kingdom come.
Thy
Father,
kingdom
this
come.
has been fantastic. Thank you so much. It's always good to have you in Cheshire.
Good to be here with you, Brother Matthew, and count on my prayers as you start your third year.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Count on ours.
All right. God bless.
God bless. Thanks, Father.